Hello, you're listening to the G.O.A.T Pod. This is a podcast where we discuss the best-selling albums of all time. Hosted by Jason Purrier, Steven Schott, Daniel Brown, and me, Jared Slusher. Now let's go ahead and dive into today's episode.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's today's episode.
Yeah.
Woo.
If you're looking for today's episode, you're in the right spot.
It's today.
Or
it always will
yesterday.
be.
Mint Mobile.
Or tomorrow.
Yep.
Not a sponsor. Not a
Mint.
sponsor. Not a sponsor.
Ryan Reynolds,
Yet.
Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Ryan. No, okay.
Reginald.
We're off to a chaotic start as usual. But today we're going to be looking at a really cool album by Led Zeppelin. And if you're wondering, Zeppelin is like a bomb or something. I know I was wondering about that.
Too soon.
Wait.
What? No.
Wait, is a Zeppelin not a blimp? I thought it was a blimp.
It's that
could
blimp
be.
thing.
I think it. Oh.
It did blow up, but besides that part, it wasn't a bomb.
Oh.
No, that was the whole thing. It's like, how does a Led Zeppelin fly?
Oh. Wow.
In Misty Mountain
That's-
Hops.
I'm really putting a lot of.
I did put you see
a lot
there.
of epiphanies here.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm here to
Okay,
epiphanize.
but before we talk about this thing that is not apparently not a bomb, I was wondering, what are your guys' musical guilty pleasures?
Ooh.
Yeah, we're gonna peek below the surface today at the things that you don't want to admit to everybody, but you have to because it's a podcast.
Oh, I've been asked worse questions on a podcast before.
That's true.
Yeah, it may have been this podcast. Yeah,
Link in bio.
yeah.
No.
It's, J Money, as in Jared. I just realized
that was
more
confusing.
than one person.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah, Jared, what's your musical guilty pleasure?
Dude, right now, I've been really into Chapel Roan.
What?
Yeah?
Is a
Is that-
Chapel Roan?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
H-O-T-T-O-G-O.
Are they playing Hot to Go?
Yeah.
Incredible.
H-O-T-O-O. Really
you were
into
close.
the Good Luck Babe, especially, which that's kind of her more popular one right now. But just started listening to her Monday, and the past few days I've been like, yeah, I like this. The lyric content's a little bit much, but I'm down with the vibe.
This? Who is? I seriously haven't heard this person before.
Yeah, she is part of the trifecta with Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo of like the new up and comers.
I was like,
with,
how are
like-
you connecting those? They are very different musical artists. But up and coming, yes. Very much so.
Yeah, up and coming TikTokers and obviously more than TikTok, but that's where people are getting big these days. So maybe that's what City and Forest should do.
TikToking. It's Swedish.
So, but yeah, really good.
Huh. All right. Well, you learned something new. How about other J Dog? Meaning
Oh,
Daniel.
I'm just J Dog.
No, I'm just kidding.
He's
Yeah,
J
Jason.
Money. So
Yeah.
I have three that go in very different directions. So I figured they were all relevant. One is Sabrina Carpenter. Music is epic. But
Nice.
the other two, I feel like that's less guilty pleasure because she's like a big deal now. My other
That is
two
guilty.
are the Cabin Crew. Does anybody know about the Cabin Crew? These
They
are
sound
some
familiar.
kids from like Scotland that have started to put out like dance music and stuff. Go look it
Okay.
up. It's gonna change your life. They
Man.
got hit songs like Yeah Boy and The Spark. The Spark you've probably heard on social media. It kind of blew up. Those are their only like release songs right now. But it's some kids
Look up Cabin
from
Crew
Scotland.
Band.
Okay.
No, just the Cabin. Kabin. Crew.
Oh, that would do it.
Crew.
Okay, that
It's
changes
some
things
kids.
from what I
Yeah, it's some
found on the
kids.
internet.
So yeah, that it's a weird move. I'll give it that.
Wow.
And then I had the other one. I was scrolling through all the stuff I listened to find my other like.
And it's getting close to
Oh,
the
it
Spotify
was-
Wrapped thing. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. That's gonna be hype. What is what's his name? I just listened to his
Macaulay
song.
Culkin.
Oh,
George Washington.
Afro Man.
Braden Hassel.
Love me some Afro Man.
Okay.
Afro
Crazy rap because I got high. I didn't, but the
Oh,
song.
yeah. Okay.
He did.
Because I
From
got high.
45
Gotcha.
to zigzag. Maybe that's all you need.
Wow.
Yeah. And
So,
you feel
very
guilty and
different
pleasurable
directions.
when listening to him?
Huh?
You feel guilty and pleasurable when you listen to him?
I feel, I feel like I'm vibing. I feel like I'm not who that music was meant for, but I'm having a good time.
All right. Well, you have to feel guilty for it to qualify.
I feel guilty because I think you're giving me these looks right now, so that's my guilt.
Okay, that's good. If you feel guilty, I've achieved my goal.
If
How
you're
about
guilty and you
Daniel?
know it, clap your hands.
Yeah. So there's a dude. His name I forget his actual name. I know him
Jimmy Stewart.
as the very nice, interesting singer man.
Very nice, interesting singer.
His name is Roy. That's his name.
Roy.
His name is Roy.
Oh,
That's it.
like the Tooth Fairy from the Santa Claus 2, right?
He's on Spotify as the very nice, interesting singer man,
What?
and
Interesting.
he also is known by like 15 to 20 different names
Oh,
on Spotify.
That's probably not good for business. Not good for branding.
But each one does different things. The very nice, interesting singer man has one song that is 155,000 streams. That's called the Butt Cheeks song.
Ooh.
But a personal favorite of mine comes from his 2015 album Household Products and Household Items that is just called Air Freshener Spray.
What is wrong with this guy? Why
Well,
can't
the
he just
other
name
thing is his
something
name's
normal?
not even Roy. His name's Matt Farley, known as Roy, who also has the nice, interesting singer man.
Yes.
Wow.
Who is this man?
This was something
Somebody
that
find
we
his social
found back
security number.
in like 2015. We found it when he was coming out with some of these huge albums.
It's huge.
And when people tell me, "Oh, I listen to everything," this is who I send them.
okay.
I say, if you listen to everything, you have to listen to this man.
Someone has shown me this. It may have been you at
It
some
was-
I
point.
just love.
I promise you, it was me. And if it wasn't
When I-
me, it was
when I
Zach,
Google it-
because we figured him out together.
Okay.
There's
yeah, it was definitely one of you.
There's 4 songs that come up on Google when I Google this, and I'm going to read them in order, very specifically in order. And it's
Yeah.
the Butt Cheeks song, followed by Everyone Has a Butt, followed by
Classic.
Golf Cart Song, and
That's
finishing
a good
with
one.
Dropped My Phone in the Toilet.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a theme here.
No, there's
I'll-
not.
I'll
It's
add
not a
one-
theme.
I'll add one more to
Definitely.
that. It's okay to break the law if you have good intentions.
Wait,
Which comes right
there's a
before the
theme.
skinny dipping song.
you're telling
Wow.
me everyone's got a butt?
So that's
Believe it
that's
or not.
my guilty pleasure.
Steven,
music.
what's
When you
your
tell me
guilty
you listen to
pleasure?
everything?
It is bad.
Here's the real question though that we can't just brush by. Dan, were you possibly not yourself this past week, yet also a famous singer at the same time?
Okay, we can't.
We
get
can
in- We're
ha-
not
we
even
can
like,
definitely
doing
get into
his
this.
album.
We don't
We're
have to.
10 minutes into recording already.
We have to. We have to get into this.
Okay,
What happened
yes,
to you this week?
I was
you Batman?
hypnotized at the state fair this past, last Tuesday.
Wow.
And
We should have
was
started with that.
hypnotized to sing Bon Jovi on stage and killed it, apparently.
He
Nice.
did like a whole knee slide across the stage.
It was like a 4-foot power slide.
It was
Wow.
sick. It was impressive.
It was serious.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I want to go to your church.
Yeah.
I was not hypnotized at my church.
Wow, that's you were hypnotized. That's pretty cool.
I was.
For the second
I thought that just
time.
happened in
Yeah.
in
So,
movies.
if I had a nickel for every time I've been hypnotized, I'd have 2 nickels, which it's not,
not
a
a lot of
lot, but it's
nickels.
weird
If
that
you
it
want to
happened
hear the
twice.
first story of how he was hypnotized, link will be in
Link
the
in
bio.
bio.
We'll find it.
Yeah. Somebody will find it.
Okay, that's
So,
all
Steven,
right.
what's your guilty pleasure?
Assuming you mean pleasure, but you didn't have enough time to say it. Um, I would say, I don't know. I a lot comes to mind. But Billie Eilish, I listen to a lot, and I don't necessarily like. I guess the way I see it is like, if somebody were to ask me of my music taste, like I wouldn't like be proud to put this forward as like my actual music taste. But yeah, Billie Eilish, like early Taylor Swift.
Ooh,
With
Okay.
awesome.
So country
give us
pop.
a song. Give us a top song of early Taylor.
Uh, this isn't necessarily. It's like sort of transition Taylor, but "Clean" is
Okay.
on
Oh, okay.
1989, I think.
I thought you were going to
but-
say, "Hey, Steven."
Oh, shit,
Right?
that's a banger too.
Should have
That's a
been.
banger too. Yeah,
been
but that
your
one
answer.
just brings up bad memories for me, so I try not to listen.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when she said
Yeah, me and
goodbye.
Taylor, we had a sort of a
Falling out.
falling out, but yeah,
Awkward.
and then she sang that to you.
yeah, no, it's it's okay. I can't really get into it because of the NDA, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then also like All Time Low,
Oh,
like
heck yeah.
their earlier stuff.
You're just saying things
well.
you like
That's
now.
that's not guilty. That's just pleasure.
Well,
It's like pretty
not,
normal.
It's,
I put
You
both
don't sound
shoes on my
very guilty
feet.
about it.
well, it's they're sort of very poppy now, and they were very poppy, but I didn't really see it in when I was in high school and I listened to them. But,
They have gone
yeah.
back to punk.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, at least the 2020 album that came out.
yeah. Alex Gaskarth was my idol in high school. Yeah, he was pretty cool. And he sang really nice, so I liked him. But yeah, those are my guilty pleasures that I feel guilty, but also like pleasurable when I.
That was a
You know, when I
choice.
listen. Yeah.
That's a YouTube only moment.
Okay. Look, you also have to cut out the sniffle at the top of the
No.
at the top of the intro there. Okay,
Goes with the
sure, yeah,
Purring of the cat, yeah.
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
one.
So, Jarrett, why don't you slap us in the face with some background info?
Dude, let me tell you. So, the reason we're here is for Led Zeppelin. Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Who's
yeah.
not?
That is the title of this
Yeah,
episode.
and
Yeah.
so, say the name of the album first.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. So this
Not
this
like
album
one?
actually doesn't
Like the
have
first one?
an official title. It's called Led Zeppelin IV, and obviously that's what we've titled it to where you found it. But it's also gone by Four or Zoso or Four Symbols or Runes, which is I think Runes is probably my favorite. But
Who named
essentially-
this album? Was it the very nice singer guy that named this album?
it was the
least.
marketing company that decided the names of albums, at least for this one since it was untitled. But it was released November 8th, 1971. Features the band members Robert Plant on the vocals and harmonica, Jimmy Page on the guitars, and mandolin on, I think it's just one song. I think it's the Battle of Evermore where he plays the mandolin. And we got John Paul Jones, bass, electric piano, mandolin on everything else, the recorders, and the synth, and then John Bonham on the drums. And so just a little bit of background on Led Zeppelin. Originally, they were the New Yardbirds. Let me just mess that up on as I'm saying it. Originally, the New Yardbirds. And the reason they're called the New Yardbirds is because Jimmy Page was part of the actual
Yardbirds.
older Yardbirds.
That makes sense.
And so Jimmy Page, or the Yardbirds, stopped existing. And so, if you're familiar with the Yardbirds, you know Jeff Beck was also in that group. I think Jeff Beck left. Jimmy Page came on, did the guitars, and then they decided to not continue being a band. And Jimmy Page was like, "Well, I know some peeps. Let's get together." And so they continued as the New Yardbirds,
Yeah.
and then were being sued. And so, like, okay, fine, we'll change our name. And they picked Led Zeppelin. And so moved on. They did 3 albums before this, obviously, as this one is 4. And
that makes sense.
the one before this, Led Zeppelin III, got a lot of lukewarm reviews for being a little too folksy or soft and mellow. And a lot of critics at the time were like, "Oh, Led Zeppelin's just a hype band. Like they're just a phase, and they're not gonna last." And so Plant and Page were like, "Bet we're gonna write an album, and we're not gonna name it anything. We're gonna put songs out." And so each of the band members chose a symbol that represented themselves, and so that's how we get the 4 different symbols on the album artwork and cover and everything. They recorded this album December 1970 through February 1971 and this is interesting, the Rolling Stones Mobile, which was a van that had been converted into a recording studio for, you guessed it, the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
What?
So whenever they were on tour, instead of having to go find a studio to go to, they had one where they were at.
Dang.
And so they recorded there at Headley Grange and Island Studios in London and at Sunset Sound in LA. And Jimmy Page produced the entire thing.
Wow.
It blows my mind. Now, I don't know much of the rest of the Led Zeppelin 3 album, but the headlining song is Immigrant Song.
Right.
That is known throughout the world.
Yeah.
Maybe they
folksy.
got more recognition with Led Zeppelin 4 having as much notoriety as it did, but it's wild to me that album got lukewarm reviews, with that being the front end of it.
I know. Yeah.
And they said, said it was too
anti-immigrants.
folksy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now maybe the rest of that album, I've not listened to it, but maybe the rest of that album is folksy.
I will say that it is.
Okay.
You start off strong with Immigrant Song, and then you go into, one of the songs is named after the cottage where they wrote the album.
Oh.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Bon Iver.
You say Bon Iver?
Bon Iver.
We'll go with that. That's kind of close,
No, that's
if not actually
artist. No, you don't know Boniver?
No, I know him, but I think that's close to how you would actually pronounce the cottage.
I like it.
Oh, that's amazing.
So,
Very cool.
but yeah,
Well, Dan, why don't you give us this track listing? What's on this album?
Yep. Right off the rip, we've got 2 singles, Black Dog and Rock and Roll. We have The Battle of Evermore featuring Sandy Denny of Fairpoint Convention. We have the probably best known song of Led Zeppelin in Stairway to Heaven. It's a forbidden riff in guitar centers all over the world because it is just so played. If you want to get kicked out, that's how you do it. Then we have Misty Mountain Hop, which was on the B-side to Black Dog. Four Sticks, which was on the B-side to Rock and Roll. We have Going to California. And to close it out, When the Levee Breaks with Memphis Minnie and Kansas Joe. Memphis Minnie and Kansas Joe McCoy cover. Pardon me.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well,
I think this is the shortest album, or as far as like song wise that we've done.
Yeah.
There's only 8.
It is. It's there's only 8 songs, but all the songs are pretty hefty.
Yeah.
At least like 4 minutes or more.
But unlike our favorite email of an album that won by Dire Straits, it is, the heftiness is worth it.
Yeah, the heftiness is because of all the epic content of the song.
Exactly.
And let's look at some of these. Talk about some of the lyrics and the themes. So the big thing that I took away from this is to stay away from a big-legged woman.
That's a Queen song.
Apparently, it's a Led Zeppelin song too. And then
The Queen was a little higher up.
yeah,
Oh, that was Fat Bottom Girls. My bad.
yeah, they were a bit more crass. Queen was, but yeah, and then also you want to go toward a skinny leg woman.
Interesting.
So that's the
Wow.
that's
Is
the
that all
wisdom.
Black Dog?
Yeah, it is. It's all black. Yeah. Then you know the subsequent songs is just elaborating on that same theme of yeah, no, but I will say that these subsequent songs, such as the Battle of Evermore, there's a lot of Tolkien references.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
That and Misty Mountain Hop.
Misty Mountain Hop, yeah.
Do the hop.
Which does anyone know about their interest in Tolkien and sort of how, or maybe like some ways that it crept into their songwriting? 'Cause I noticed it, but I don't exactly know the specifics of it.
Yeah. So they're British, and as was Tolkien, and that's that.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I don't know anything more. I mean, it definitely leans in. Obviously, they had the criticism from album 3 of being too folksy, yet still, even in this album, like their lyrical themes are very folksy, mystical kind of stuff. So the idea
Yeah.
of them implementing one of the most renowned like fairy tale type stories, not really truly a fairy tale, but like in the fairy tale esque, you have elves and dwarves,
the fantasy
and
realm.
the fantasy realm. That
Yeah.
that lines up really cleanly with kind of their themes that they've been doing, even though they're doing it in a heavier fashion than like what you would think of folk tunes.
It's a very nice combination of like that, like hardcore rock and sort of metal-ish sound, along with the folksiness. It's makes it feel very epic. I think. And,
I feel like we need to get back to some of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Get
More
a bunch of
folksy.
these like nerdy homeschool kids that love fantasy stuff and are also like killer musicians, and be like, "Yo, you seeing this stuff? Do that. Do some
right.
of that. It'd be great."
Jake, and if you're listening,
Who is that? But but the trends of modern music, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I don't think Sabrina Carpenter is going to come out with a Tolkien album.
you never know, man.
No,
It's
no,
possible.
no,
Stranger
no,
things have happened.
No,
I mean, we're almost
No.
on season
I've
5
seen
of that.
Stranger
So
Things.
no.
Yeah.
I've seen the themes of her songs. I don't think that one's floating in there anytime soon.
No, I don't think she's heard of Tolkien.
I'm happy to be proven wrong.
I'm happy to be proven right.
Yeah. Is there anything else in the lyrics or themes of this song or of this album?
In y'all's research, do you think Stairway to Heaven is about God?
You're right. I did mean to research before I came on here. You're right.
I've heard that it's almost like the opposite, that it's sort of anti-God in a lot of ways. But I have no reason for thinking that. I just heard it. So there you are.
Yeah, I mean it.
Okay.
I didn't delve too far in, but at least the way in which this idea of the building of the stairway seems very less a focus on God and more of a focus on like the person's action, and so forth. And so it obviously, like, you have this like heavenward divine goal in a sense. The rest of the song doesn't really go after it. It's kind of one of those things that like everybody's like, oh my gosh, Hallelujah is such a great song, and I'm like, that's not what that song's about. I feel like that's kind of the same route here. It's just like, yes, we are dealing with some divine themes while not really delving into like a goal of God or of the divine.
Yeah, from just looking at the lyrics right now, within the last 60 seconds, it definitely feels like I echo that. Like there's definitely mysticism and divineness. I mean, heaven. So like there's somewhere we want to end up, but there's
Yeah.
two roads, and one is there, the other is obviously the other way. But I wouldn't say it's the heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot of artists do this, but it's a sort of religious language and imagery
Mm-hmm.
to talk about stuff that is not necessarily what like a someone who is actually religious would think of it. They use it as more metaphors, like like buying a stairway to heaven. Heaven in this instance means just like you know, happiness and sort of
Mm.
a sense of transcendence. So the metaphor is, material wealth and gain is like some sort of track to happiness.
Mm.
Mm. And a stairway
So
is easier than a ladder.
Sure.
So,
it is, yeah, especially on your knees.
mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd seen some analysis that, it's somebody's opinion of this. They treat the woman as the main character.
Mm-hmm.
She's looking for her way into heaven. And they treat this idea that she's buying a stairway to heaven almost as hubris, as a bit of arrogance, and the ability that you can buy your way into heaven.
Mm-hmm.
But immediately afterwards, there's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, because sometimes words have two meanings, showing that like she believes that she can. She believes that there's a morally good way to build a pathway to heaven,
Mm-hmm.
but she wants to be absolutely sure, showing not only her self delusion but also self awareness of like, okay, well, like maybe I'm wrong.
Mm.
But then in a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings. Is the first mention of nature
Yeah.
that the author of this article introduces us to.
Nature.
Aidan Shuttler from KRUIFM out of somewhere.
Corfam.
Bless you.
Yeah, but it's just it's some people think that it's this beautiful imagery of looking to the west, as in looking to the future, looking to nature, looking to all of these different ways to find meaning in life. Some people think it's gibberish that Robert Plant wrote super high in one or two passes.
Mm.
There's a lot of different, there's sometimes words have two meanings,
Yeah.
and sometimes words have no meanings.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just inspiration in the moment. Like, who knows?
Yeah. Like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
That's right. There's a lot of different stories on how this came about. I'd be curious to see, and in all of my research, I did not actually see any of this, what Plant says about the words, about the lyrics.
I didn't see anything either.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think a lot of times we construct a meaning after the fact, which, human people are good at doing that.
Yeah,
So even if you did write it high, we can still appreciate, the meaning that we put onto it
Mm-hmm.
that's right.
now. And maybe when he was writing high, like it's a more like genuine and authentic voice that comes out, that's like coming from his subconscious or something, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I devolved into Cheech and or Chong at the end of that, but
That's right.
Very cheech to my.
yeah, but so what about the actual musicalness of these songs? Maybe apart from the lyrics, what are some musicalities?
Yeah, there are some interesting things here. One, there are, let's see, 4 different guitar tunings in this
Whoa.
whole
Oh.
album. You have your standard guitar tuning. You have drop D, open G, open F, and a fifth double drop D.
Ooh.
Wow.
Which, as opposed to
That
drop
makes
D,
me
which
hungry.
is DAD
Wow.
GBE, a double
Nope.
drop D is DAD GBD.
Wow. The only double
It's gonna
D
be
I've ever
hard to
heard of is from
stay-
Cartoon Network.
Okay, come on, man. Let's keep it PG here.
It is PG.
It's never been PG.
Yeah.
PG
I
7.
thought that was really cool. I've heard a lot of, not a lot of, recently, as I've been talking about this album with people in my life that play music, and I'm curious to know what y'all's thoughts are. That they think that Jimmy Page is a sham,
Oh.
Interesting.
and that stuff that he does happened before him, that he wasn't innovative in any way.
Okay.
Whoa, those are fighting words.
Yeah, I
know.
mean, I see where they're coming from. Yet there's also an argument that like he perfected those things, and so though it's not like a creation of a new thing, a perfection of an old thing is something neat in its own. It's kind of like Mozart had a lot of things that he did innovate with, but like Mozart's mainly known for being like the best at the thing that was there.
Yeah,
And so
that's right.
I think there's something there that it's like, I get the argument of he didn't seem to really develop any new theories, even in the sense, and I don't know if you're going to get to this in a minute, but Stairway to Heaven was a finger exercise for practicing guitar.
Yeah.
That he was just playing, and someone was like, "Oh my gosh, what's that song?" He's like, "This is not a song; it's literally a practice exercise." And,
That's right.
Well, they were like, "You should make that a song," and so then he adjusted it slightly, obviously, because otherwise it would just be the same thing exactly the whole way through.
For sure.
But I mean, it was not built in such of a way. But I mean, you can listen to 1,000 people play Stairway to Heaven, and every single time be like, "That's not it." Like,
Yep.
you played all the notes, but you didn't do it right.
It is a pretty standard finger picking exercise. I would say one thing that I noticed that I think a lot of bands I've just not noticed do, like maybe they do it, maybe they don't. But Led Zeppelin goes through modes pretty fluidly. Stairway to
I
Heaven
can see that.
itself goes through. It lives in A minor, but it also goes to A Aeolian and A Dorian. Just like utilizing different types of the same language, essentially.
What's Aeolian?
So in modes and musical modes, the most common mode is Ionian, which is just your normal major scale. So anytime you hear something major key, that's technically the Ionian mode. And so you go up. Dorian is if you're playing in the key of C, starting at the second note and then going to the next second note would be Dorian and so forth. So Aeolian is what? Starting from the fifth to the fifth? Fourth to fourth.
Is there a
I forget my
Corinthian
order
mode?
of modes.
No. It's if you're in
it's
C,
second
it's 3
Corinthian.
flats.
Yeah.
It's 3 dropped.
Yeah. And so so you're essentially
we're-
you're using the same number of sharps and flats, but you're putting them at a different place in your keys.
Yeah.
Not sharps and flats, but same number of major and minor intervals between everything. So,
But I liked the different modes. I liked the different rhythms. Misty Mountain Hop lived on the and of 4. Anytime it started a new phrase, it started on the end of 4, which kind of led into like when I first listened to it, I was like, this sounds cool. It sounds off. As they're like living on the beat when they start on the end of 4, just a little not off.
it keeps you driving forward with the lyrics rather than the tempo and the rhythm alone. Which I think I feel like our musicalities today, we're just bouncing back and forth here, but is the way in which the drum sections were worked out. Like they did a lot of that as well. Like even in even in Black Dog, there's a few spots where they switch up where the emphasis is on the groove, and it almost feels like they're like changing a time signature or whatever, but it's really like, hey, they just held an extra note, did like 2 measures of that, and then went back into the groove. And so there was no actual key or tempo change, but because of putting the emphasis at another spot, it feels like it was.
Yeah.
So it's a neat thing.
It is a neat thing.
It's a musical nudity, which is being rolled in here with our musicality.
Neat things.
Yeah.
Neat.
One thing that I have found really neat about
Okay,
our albums lately is what albums were they competing against.
Yeah.
So in 1971, some of the other albums that were coming out at the same time were Who's Next by The Who, Janis Joplin's Pearl album, the Rolling Stones album Sticky Fingers, Surf's Up by the Beach Boys, Madman Across the Water by Elton John, Tapestry by Carole King, and one of the most important ones on here is John Lennon's Imagine.
Oh, man.
Wow.
All came out at the same time, or in the same year.
Speaking of Sticky Fingers, so the Rolling Stones pianist Ian Stewart plays on is it Rock and Roll or Rock and Roll on this album, and he also helped engineer it when they were recording in the Rolling Stones mobile.
That's sick.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think it's also neat. Always, I mean, you just got to always remember the vocal range here for Robert Plant is one of the craziest.
Yeah, he's kind of like it's kind of the. I was just gonna say it's kind of like Axl Rose a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it
sort of a similar like generation of singers.
Yeah. Ish.
This use of the incredibly high falsetto of the male voice, which we just don't seem to hear as much now. But even in doing that, he's still known as a +4 octave range. I could not find exactly his octaves for this album. I could pick through all of his highest and lowest notes across the board. But in his career, his highest note he ever hit was a C-sharp 6, and his lowest note he ever hit was an F-sharp 2, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And I also like this. Man. So it's not really a quote because it's a quote from somewhere, but it's Google AI that puts those things when you Google things. I love this statement that it made. It says, Robert Plant's vocal range in Led Zeppelin was considered to be outside of the normal scientific averages for regular vocal register. And the statement of that, I'm like, no, really? Thank you so much, Google AI, telling us all what we did not know. But it is true. Yeah. Like, not only was his voice beyond what is normal, like, I think the statement of like beyond even like a scientific range, like he should not have been able to sing that many notes compared to like what we have recorded in history. So,
yeah, it's crazy, especially if you listen to the earlier.
No hot takes. Interesting.
Wow. If you listen to the earlier stuff, you hear more of his, and you can hear it kind of in this record too, but like his natural voice. And then also going into, like, I guess Stairway to Heaven's kind of the best example of this. You hear more of his natural voice, and then when he gets to the falsetto, it's like, oh, yeah, it is the same person singing.
Yeah. You're like, who's this other guy? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, no, no hot takes this week, though. I think the hottest of a take would be, I could have used a little bit more Tolkien reference, but... that's about it. That's not really a hot take. I think we're all on board with that. So,
that's a warm take.
This was a fire album.
Wow.
Fuego.
I'm going to have to agree with you there. So what about, what were some highlights that we found in this album? I'll say for me, it was whatever the instrument was in the Battle of Evermore. It's the mandolin or the viola or the
I think the mandolin is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
That was a highlight for me. It was a very nice sounding sounding song. And then the other one, weirdly, was Stairway to Heaven. Like, I thought it would be one of those songs where it's like I've heard it 1,000 times, but it's like I listened to it and I was like, whoa, I forgot about this song. It's very good. There's a lot more to it.
I had the same feeling.
When you get so used to that same like first 16 bars, that's the only part that anybody knows how to play.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh wait, let me listen to the rest of the 8-minute song.
It evolves well. It does.
Yeah.
No, I think Highlight was just, as much as we've hated on long songs in this podcast, this is how you make a long song.
Yes.
I would
Don't do the same thing for 8 minutes. You have a variety of music.
It needs to evolve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ebb and flow and move. Yeah. I agree.
That's my highlight, is writing long songs that matter.
Yes.
Put that on
a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Nice. Great minds.
Write long songs that matter. We'll make t-shirts.
Hashtag it.
Yeah.
I would say another highlight for me that we haven't talked about yet is how many different genres this takes.
Ooh.
True.
Like you get a lot of different feels, you get a lot of different types of music. It might not be the most like cohesive album that we have listened to.
Yeah.
But I think it shows Led Zeppelin's skills well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I feel like if you listen to the previous three, this is a good combination of those three, but in a different way. You got the folk, you've got the hard rock, heavy side of it, but it's also diverse at the same time.
Well, I think also there's as it may lack the like technical sense of cohesiveness, I never once felt like a song came on and I was like, whoa, this is out of left field. Where we've had some of those albums that you're like, man, I loved 8 of the 10 of these, and then there were those 2 that were like, what are you doing in this album?
Yeah.
Or like, that's a great song for a different album. Like,
yeah.
And even though it wasn't built on like a storyline per se, or doing really like a specific like, oh, you listen to this album and you get this whole build through the whole thing. At no point do you get to a song that you're like, man, this would have been so much better on a different album. You're like, nah, this was it. This was what it needed to be.
For sure.
True. On the other side of that coin, what were some of our least favorite songs of this album? In fact, what was your one specific least favorite song? And I'm going to start with J-Train.
Which one?
I just wanted to see who would speak up.
I'm J-Dog. I think you're J-Money. So who is J-Train?
Well,
is that me?
J Drizzy.
J-Train. Yeah. Sure. Dan, that meant you.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead?
Here we go, J
Sounds
Train.
good. This was
J-Train.
tough. Picking a least favorite was really difficult. I liked so many of these songs, and 4 Sticks, I guess, if I had to pick a song.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Tell us why you hated that song.
I didn't. But if I had to pick a least favorite, that's it.
Wow.
And it's so tough because I love the intro to that song, but I don't know. If you go halfway through the song, it has the same kind of feel.
Sure, yeah.
And some of the other ones evolved better. Maybe, I guess. I don't know. Okay. I liked that one the least. I did not hate this song by any means.
All right, if you say so.
Yep.
How about D-Dog? Okay, well, I'm going to stop doing that.
Oh my gosh.
Jason.
Hey. As Jarrett was saying,
can we just appreciate the fact that Jason's name on here is literally Feather Train?
Yeah.
But J Train with Dan.
Oh man.
I just did the opposite of a Led Zeppelin.
Guessing.
I was just trying to go for the opposite.
That's what that means. I had no idea. I didn't
This
learn
is
what
a
a
tough
Zeppelin
one.
was until at the beginning of there.
This is tough. I like this album a whole lot. I think if there was like one song that's like, man, if I had to lose one, I think it's got to be Going to California. And I love Going to California, but
Oh,
I feel like if it were the
Yeah.
7 without it, I would love this album nearly the same. But I feel like any of the others were gone. I don't know if I would like it as much.
Sure,
So.
sure. That's fair. And what about Jarrett?
Thank you for using my regular name.
It's a stage name.
This is I echo everything that's been said earlier. I like all of these. If I had to choose my least favorite, I think and I would narrow this down to the fact that I didn't get to listen to this one with headphones or have like an isolated space to listen to it. I listened to this at work and in the car. So I would go based on how I listened to it, just the Battle of Evermore. I still like it, but out of
You
the
know that's
8,
That's
Steven's
the
favorite.
hot
It's at the
take.
bottom.
That's
Steven's
the
favorite.
hot take. That is the biggest hot take that was been brought up yet.
hyperventilating here.
Do it. Hyperventilate. Get a paper
You know
bag.
that's Steven's favorite. Like, there's no way it's not.
hyperventilating.
Beans.
Continue, Jonathan.
Steven, what's your least favorite?
You just doxed me. I've been known as Beans this whole time, and you just now everyone knows my name is Steven. But okay.
This is not the first time.
If only they
No.
listened to the intro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
In the outro.
yeah, yeah. And all the
Oh, maybe not the
episodes
outro,
before.
but gracious.
I forget stuff sometimes. Okay, so my least favorite was probably Misty Mountain Hop.
Oh man.
I didn't care for it.
Wow.
I did not care for it. I found it.
So why do you
know-
hate the Tolkien?
Well, I hate it because no, I don't hate it. It was alright.
He hated it because he ain't it.
What? Yeah, I really wish I was Misty Mountain Hop.
Yep.
Hop it
That's
up.
that's what I desire. But yeah, it didn't speak to me like the other ones, and I was almost finding the riff repetitive. It just
fair.
wasn't good enough
I can see
to
that. I can see that.
play as many times as it did to me.
Sure.
So that's why I hate it to its very bones. So see, that's the
Cool.
difference between me and you, Dan. I pick a lane, okay, and I commit to it.
That's fine.
But if you're in the left
Even if
lane,
it-
it's wrong.
Even if I
That's
don't
fine.
believe it, I just commit to it.
That's
Commit to the bit.
You've caused so many crashes, haven't you?
All right. Now that that's over with, let's look at some happier times and talk about our favorite songs. All right, and James Bond, take it away, man.
All right. So my
Yeah,
favorite
so-
Did
song.
it again, dang it. Okay.
so. I gotta say,
Y'all
Double
were
O
slow
Seven
on the
here.
draw.
All right, we'll go to the same
So-
order. Dan.
Yeah, Stairway to Heaven.
Okay. Let's
I think for
Dang.
for
Okay.
the number of songs that we've had over 6 minutes, it's I think the best at evolving.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Adding something new, fresh, what have you, for 8 minutes. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, they killed it. I
Yep.
agree.
And thank
good.
you for asking me first. I appreciate it.
I
Bless
appreciate
you.
you asking him first so that he could say not the best song on this album. I think it's got to
yeah,
be Black
right.
Dog.
Whoa.
It's got to be Black Dog. That
Wow.
intro make you want to run
Coming
through a
out
wall.
swinging.
This is like
Kind of does.
Welcome to
Kinda
the
does.
Jungle
It
again.
does.
It's all over again.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Jungle, back for more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You hear,
Oh,
you
man.
hear
Has a
that,
good-
hold up.
You know, we didn't spend 10 minutes talking about Stairway to Heaven, or was talking about Black Dog, but we did talk about Stairway to Heaven for 10 minutes.
It has a good moral, too. It has a good message.
I'm just
Steer
saying.
clear of big-legged women.
I'm just saying. If
If
at
there's
any
one
point in the
thing
day,
they can get across.
Bonkers.
at any point in the day, you hear that little bit of like guitar coming through, and then nothing followed that.
yeah.
Hey, mama, and you're ready to go. You're rocking.
You're ready to go. You're scoring on Shesterkin. That's what's happening.
Let the record show that as of right now, Steven is not in a relationship with a big-legged woman, but 10 to 20 years from now, we come back to this, hold him accountable.
That's
and we
going to
do
be
that.
so ironic when I marry a big-legged woman.
That's what this podcast
I'm going
is
to
all
eat my
about.
words, man. Okay, Jarrett, how about you? What was your fave?
I think it's down to two. It's on side two. I'm trying to figure out. It's two of y'all's least favorites, so I'm happy to have either
Interesting.
one.
Say
I'm sorry. What? Both of these are one of y'all's least favorites.
Yeah. I bet I
Which
can
one do
guess
I
which
want?
two.
Yeah.
You're looking at either Misty Mountain Hop or Four Sticks.
Well, I was going to say
Unless you're looking
California.
at going to California. Then it's probably one of those three.
Uh,
Wow.
Why don't you throw in when the levee breaks too? Oh yeah, that's all
Yeah.
of side two, isn't it?
You got to choose. You got to choose, Jarrett.
Oh my gosh.
do it.
I'm gonna go with Misty Mountain Hop so we can have some
All
Tolkien in there.
right.
Good.
Wow.
That was my third favorite.
That's crazy how different we are, Jarrett.
Well,
How many of Beans' least favorites can we get on
I'm
our?
just marveling
favorites playlist.
at our friendship.
listen.
Yeah. Well, Beans, what
Tell
about
us what
you?
we want to hear.
Yes, Steven.
Tell us what we want to hear. Tell us your favorite song.
Well, you may have already suspected, but the Battle
suspected.
of Evermore
Yes.
is my favorite.
Heck yeah.
Very
All
nice.
right.
And we have another instance. I'm sure this has happened before. I can't
knew
remember one, but where Jarrett's least favorite is my favorite, and my favorite is Jarrett's least favorite.
That's amazing.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
I
That's
just
great.
want us to
Crazy.
recognize for just a half a second that on an 8-song album, we get to pick 4 favorites, and Rock and Roll and When
Yeah.
the Levee Breaks did not make that list. That's an incredible moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, 4 of the 8 had to not make it because that's how math works.
Yeah.
But
is
that
how-
just blows my mind a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I
Wow,
thought going to
that's-
California was gonna make it. I honestly thought the Battle of Evermore or going to California were gonna be one of Steven's favorites. So
yeah.
Well, you were
obviously
half
it was
you were
Battle.
you were right about one of them.
You were, yeah. The Battle of Evermore was dope. I don't think it had a drum in there.
It didn't.
Yeah.
It was just acoustic and mandolin.
crazy.
Yeah, which I dig a lot. Like I like the stripped down kind of sound.
Oh
But
gosh, we're about to get to the hardest part of this episode.
all right, here it comes.
All right.
We have to rank
Wow.
this album among the ones that we've already ranked, which it's the past participle of
Runked.
yeah. Look, I'm sick and kind of delirious, honestly. So
I like
I'm
it.
proud of myself for getting through this. But yeah, I think we got it pulled up here, so we have it in front of us. But D-Dog, meaning Danielson, where are you going to
Oh
put this
jeez.
album?
This is a really difficult one.
I agree.
I think for me it's got to go 7th,
7.
Wow. Okay.
That's
above
That's-
Metallica, below Let's Talk About Love.
Okay. All right, that's not where I would have put it. But that makes sense.
makes sense for you.
Thanks.
That makes sense for you. But
I'm
Yeah.
I like that for you.
So-
That's good.
Love that.
Love that for your choices.
Yeah. Jay
Yeah, let's spend more time on this. Who
Son. Where's this going?
this is the hardest choice I've had in weeks.
Yep.
It's actually not true. I've had many harder
weeks?
choices in life.
Aren't you planning
but
your
in
wedding?
this, honestly, those
In a lot
choices
of
aren't that hard.
Okay.
Let's see here.
He says that now.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do this. Let's put number 2. Just behind Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and above 21.
That is way up there.
So y'all can know what was going on through my head. The debate was not 2 or 3. It was 1 or 2. And I wasn't sure.
Wow.
That's where I was at.
Oh, I love that.
Actually, something
Oh,
you
I
like
love
this
that.
album.
This was a good album.
It was very good.
I listened to this more than most of the albums.
This is a problem. I immediately want to change my answer. Why'd you make me go first?
Hey,
Why'd you put it at
Hey.
7?
hey. Reminder that at some point we
you're
are going to
right.
get to switch an album.
Oh yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah, one album.
One album.
Oh,
I don't know
hate
when
my
that's going to be,
choices.
but we'll do it at some point.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think
Let it be
we've
known, this is the first time
discussed
I've
that.
actually regretted a choice in podcast.
Wow, in real time.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, J-Rat, where's it going for you?
I agree with Jason, too.
Oh, yeah. Put it up, put it up, put
That was
it
a
up.
funny sequence of behaviors.
Is there?
Oh yeah.
Y'all was ready.
Wow. Okay. Beans. Where are we at?
That's my name.
Short for
Don't wear
Steven.
it out.
Put it in the microwave.
For me, this will be going at numero 3.
Oh,
Above
snap.
Metallica, below Abbey Road.
So that's the real question is, Dan, before this is locked in stone, how badly are
Yeah.
you feeling about your 7 choice right now?
I like
What is the debate? Just flesh it out. in
the
words.
debate in my head. It was going to be 2. Like honest to
Hey.
God, heart on
Okay.
hand on a Bible or my heart or wherever. Like it was going to be 2,
2 to 7.
and 2 to 7's wild.
That's a 5 jump. In case
Can
anyone
I-
was wondering about the math.
Can I propose?
2
Can
to
I
7's
propose something to
wild.
the council? Do I have
Sure.
permission
You
to
can.
move a motion to the council? This is just between Steven and Jarrett. Dan is not involved. Do we admit him the opportunity right now, if he would like to split the difference and place it at 4, or is he locked in? If he wants to, you don't have to take the option. We're opening up the option. Are y'all
I'm
amenable
okay with
to
him
that
having
option?
the option.
I will admit it.
Okay.
I will allow it.
Dan, you don't have to. You can leave it at 7, but you have the option. Do you want 7 or 4?
It's 4.
All right.
I
So it has
appreciate.
been said,
your,
so it has been
holy-
approved.
Holy Moses! Holy Moses!
That's why I
Whoa,
needed that. That's
snap.
why I needed that.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for this moment of grace.
Wow.
Yeah,
All right.
you're welcome.
Wow.
Read us. Where are we
Wow.
at now?
Wow.
Start from the bottom. Now we're here.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who's giving us the read off? What we
I
doing?
got it. Brothers in Arms,
All right.
17.
Good.
Still at the bottom. Ellipses,
Womp womp.
baby, one more time at 16. At number 15 is Jagged Little Pill. 14, Dirty Dancing. 13, Falling Into You. 12 is Dangerous, and it is dangerous. 11, Born in the USA. 10, The Wall. At number
Womp
9,
womp.
Let's Talk About Love by Celine Dion. Number 8, Appetite for Destruction. Number 7, Supernatural. Pardon me. Number 6, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Number 5, Metallica. Number 4, 21. Number 3, Bad. Number 2, Abbey Road. And at number 1,
know what that means.
taking the top spot for the first time since our first episode,
That's insane.
Led Zeppelin IV.
Wow.
Holy
So
cow.
wait, can we
I never
just
thought that
real
would
quick?
happen.
What was the difference? Was it literally the switch from 2 to 1? If you switched it to 7, can we do a little?
Yeah.
do a little
I
test?
think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was
Wait, let me-
it was
look,
1
I'm just gonna
when he had
do-
it at 7. I looked at it.
Yep. That's crazy. Incredible.
All right.
Well-
that is pretty incredible.
Unreal.
Let me just say one thing first. That is the end of not our podcast, but season 1 of the podcast. We will have season 2. but we're gonna take a little holiday break. We got a lot going on. There's this whole thing like holiday. There's this whole like thing called like Thanksgiving that's coming up. We gotta have that. There's these things like all these other holidays, specifically Christmas, which is lit. And then after Christmas, I will be going into the marriage life. And so in all of these things, it opens up a little bit of space, a little bit of time. But we will be back, and we will not
soon
at first be back with the next album, which is the next technical album will be Saturday Night Fever, which will be coming in hot in the new year. But our next actual album is going to be Dan's album, which is
The Battle at Garden's Gate by Led Zeppelin Jr., also known as Greta Van Fleet.
Woo! Okay, can we all still admit that Fleetwood Mac needs to go on tour with them, and then they could be Greta Van Fleetwood Mac?
Oh yeah, I've been saying that since day 2.
Yeah.
Wow,
that will be our next one. It'll be coming up in the new year. So if you've not listened to all of our episodes and this is where you started, what are you doing? Go back to the beginning. But you have time.
But also, like, welcome to this momentous moment.
Yeah, you can go back when the number 1 slot was settled until now, when it's been reclaimed by Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
So that's it for this. Happy holidays, happy Christmas, Merry Thanksgiving. Eat the foods, do the things. I guess that's about,
Yeah.
Well,
enjoy those holidays.
There goes Jason. And always remember to be prepared.
Thank you, Stephen. That concludes this episode of the Goat Pod. If you enjoyed this or didn't, feel free to let us know by emailing us at thegoatpodemail@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at thegoat_pod. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time.